I don't think you are. I'm the type of guy who buys a car and doesn't understand how to drive the car, so he keeps it in the garage till he doesn't need it anymore. And then he gives it to his grandson because he's like, oh, I guess someone's gotta drive this car. It's only really old, so it might not drive well, but who cares? Because it's a really nice car. It looks really pretty, and it's from the 50s, and no one seems to understand how to drive it. It's a stick shift. Oh, oh, it's a stick shift. Oh, oh. Okay, guess I'm leaving that in. But howdy, everybody. Hope you're having a fantastic day. And welcome back to Stranded Deep in Conversation, where we just conversate while I play this game really, really badly. And really, really slowly. So, yeah, so I hope you're doing good. I'm doing pretty well, honestly. This week's been pretty good. Work's been fun. I don't have too many crazy stories about this week in retail. I guess we can just jump right into that. However, there are 4, and they are absolute bangers, y'all. I'm talking some seriously nutty stuff happened this week. So, maybe not nutty, but it's funny. Alright, there's some crazy things going on in my retail experience. So, first of all, a guy who seemed pretty old on the phone. He was an old man, and he called. He didn't come in. He called our store. So there's this old man who called our store, and I'm like, yeah, how can I help you? And I figured it'd be, like, do you have this, or can you get this, or what do you have for this? But no, he asks, what do you recommend to keep this puzzle together? I don't have two. I used some shellac or whatever the heck he said. He used whatever the standard thing for puzzle keeping together is, but he's like, it doesn't really. I don't know if this is gonna hold. It's a pretty big puzzle. And but I picked this up because my supervisor was busy, and as I'm hearing this call, he sees my smile just grow, and I'm like holding back laughing because I'm like, this is your question? What kind of a question is this? Who asks this? Who just calls a store and is like, hey, maybe they know how to fix my puzzle? And so I'm like, I don't know, but my supervisor may. So once he's done with the customer, I just hand the phone over to him, and I explain the situation. And apparently, for some unknown, I guess not unknown, he probably just likes puzzles, he actually kind of had a solution, which was just to do another round of it, because he apparently does puzzles, I guess. I don't know. But he had an answer, and it was a pretty good one. It was the one that the customer was like, alright, yeah, that makes sense, alright, well, we'll give it a shot. and we never heard from him again, so I can only assume it worked. So if you're out there, old man, I hope your puzzle stays together, and I hope you're making another one right now, because you're clearly done with the first one if you're trying to frame it. So that was like right at the beginning of the week, and that was like just the best thing to happen all week. Next up, there was a person who's trying to use coupons. And, coupons are always a hit or miss. Either people use them well or they don't. This person used them in the middle, because a lot of them worked, but certain ones didn't. And they were very, very picky about not having the certain ones that didn't work. But instead of fighting over how the coupons should work, they just kind of accepted it and were like, okay, well, I don't want this, and then I don't want this, and then, oh, maybe I'll use this coupon for this. So I spent almost an hour with this person trying to figure out their coupon situation, because most of it was just silence, because most of it was just them looking through their freaking... Well, again, everyone, it's a different person from last week. Everyone has a pencil case, a child's pencil case full of coupons, if they do coupons. I don't know why, but they had one too, and they were looking through that, and they just couldn't find any. They were just looking through, finding specific things. I don't know if they was organized or not, but it was just, why? But at some point, after 6 instances of her trying to get me, well, I guess not trying, of her making me, like, re-roll coupons on the machine, it broke. Like, it literally said, unrecoverable error, and that the system was going to shut down after I hit OK. It needed to restart. It didn't know what to do. They broke the machine. It's just like, what? I've never seen that before. Like, I've had coupon issues before. I've never seen that. I never thought I would see that. But here we were. It was just such an anomaly. Like, I would never imagine that being a problem. Oh my goodness. But yeah, and then I had to take her to the other register. Thank goodness we had two. Otherwise, we would have been there for hours. Because that thing never resets fast. It took so long to reset. But, and then they kind of but then I go over there and like half the coupons like showed up in her account just weren't there. So I didn't know what the hell to do about that. So it was just another super long, dragged out mess. It was actually the worst. Like, imagine the worst and then put yourself in my shoes, because that is the worst. But yeah, I digress. So, two more things happened this week that are of note. Oh gosh. One being that it was like towards the end of the day, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I kinda need to pee. And I told my supervisor, hey, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. So that's where I am. So go answer the register if someone's up there. And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. And oh my goodness, I enter that bathroom, and it is just a schmear factory of just dookies and dog shit. Maybe not dog shit, but I don't know what shit was in there. But the thing is, though, it wasn't even like, it was literally just a room with like shit on the toilet seat and on the back behind the toilet and all the little handlebar things we have for people who need to like hold something to get up. Like, there was just all of that. Like, it was mind-blowing. It was on like everything within like a certain radius. It was on the floor next to the toilet. It was on the holder for the brush, for the toilet brush. And I'm like, how does this happen? Like, how do people do this? Like, it just doesn't make sense. It didn't make sense to me before. It still doesn't make sense now. Like, I kept trying to think of how in the world they could have managed to do that, and I'm still left with absolutely no ideas. Like, literally not a single idea in the world. Ow. Rude. But, yeah, so... and the thing is, though, it wasn't, like, super smeared on. Because whoever this person was, made an attempt to clean it. But they didn't clean it properly. So, they like... everything was, like, kind of faded. Meaning, they tried to wipe it off. But they were, of course, there was no hope of wiping that stuff off. But they didn't use any cleaner or anything, because there was just such an obvious remnant of what was there, that you can easily piece together where the shit was and how they... it was a nightmare. Alright, because then, since they kind of cleaned it, it didn't come off nearly as easy, because, I mean, it didn't come off nearly as just smoothly, because it was already kind of like caked onto it because of how they tried to clean it. So it was just an absolute disaster. That's all there really is to say at this point. It was a disaster. We're just gonna... But yeah, so that was the third story. There is still one more. And I know what you're saying. How could anything get any worse than that? Well, it didn't. It isn't really a bad story. It's more a funny story. So, let me explain to y'all what happened this day. Fine day of retailing. Some old guy comes in. And, you know, as I'm helping him, you know, get this stuff, he is like, hey, you know what? I like you. You got this unique style about you, and with your long hair and stuff. He literally just said long hair and stuff. I don't know what the stuff was, but I was like, all right, well, that's cool, thank you. And then, meanwhile, my other coworker is also like standing around, like, just kind of being like, okay, this is odd. And then they eventually just walk away because of what they say of this person says next. They ramble on for several minutes about back in the 70s when they used to have long hair and they did so many drugs. Like, they did like LSD and they smoked pot and they tripped a ton. And I wrote down to make sure that to highlight that the words smoked pot, LSD, and tripped were used numerous times in sentences to the point where it almost didn't make sense. Like, as he was remembering all these times that he did these drugs, he just completely zoned out and like got into that state of mind. And he's just like, yeah, dude, I tripped so hard, man, all that smoked pot and LSD. And, oh man, the LSD, man, you trip on that for so long. I was tripping for days, man. I was smoking so much pot. Oh man, I can't believe how much I did that LSD. And then he ended it off with like, yeah, that was the best time of my life, because he did it for like a decade. He said he literally just had a decade where he just did nothing but smoke pot, do LSD, and trip. Women these days only know smoke pot, LSD, and trip. But it was just such a silly thing. I don't know what the hell this guy was on. Clearly, hopefully it was LSD or smoking pot or tripping, because I mean, the dude clearly misses it. But yeah, so that was this week in retail. So not too many stories, but there were some memorable stories, man, I tell you. And we're going right back into the vein of memorable stories here. We are discussing drumroll, please. I need to keep my tiny drum set out so I can actually do drum rolls. But we're just not going to do drum roll. We're just going to say what it is right now. It is some guinea pig stories, because I've explained this in the first episode of Stranded Deep in conversation, but I had 5 total guinea pigs, all at different times. So I had 2. Their names were Larry and Gabe. Gabe was an albino guinea pig, and Larry was like a black and white one that looked like a cow, which is pretty damn adorable. And I loved those bastards, and I think, like, we got them all from Petco, so I want to first and foremost say, fuck Petco. Petco, you suck. There, okay, that's all I really need to say about that. But, one thing that happened with Larry is that he didn't really last very long. He lasted like 7 months, and there was literally no sign of it. He literally just randomly had, like, I think we brought him to the vet. I think he had a stroke, and then he wound up having a heart attack. I don't know why. No one, like, the doctors couldn't explain it. They just were like, oh, we've never seen this before. And we were like, oh no, that poor bastard. But before he went out, oh, we were able to do some crazy things with him, let me tell you. Him and Gabe, they were some wacky dudes, some zany boys, if you will. And we put them, maybe, honestly, we might have been the cause of it, but no, because they were very sweet, and they loved us, and we gave them food, and we gave them everything. We gave them everything they could possibly ask for, except for maybe just some peace and quiet. But, so, the biggest thing, like, the highlight of my entire guinea pig owning career was the Guinea Pig Olympics, or the Guinea Pig Olympics, that we did with Larry and Gabe. These two knuckleheads, we were like, I think, like 7th grade going into 8th grade when we got these guys. So, you know, lovable bastards. We were kids, we were dumb, and we were like, hey, what if we, like, have them do stuff? And the stuff that, the only sane thing for people to think of when they think, let's make our animals do stuff, is tasks and challenges. Because why not? I also had one of my friends over that day, so you know we had a good time. And so I kind of remember everything, but the main events, right, were, so they had to climb up pillows. So we had like pillows and like a ramp, and they would have to climb up the ramp, or like it was very like short. It was like it wouldn't make that too big, because we were like, yeah, we don't want them to like slide off or fall or anything like that. For that part, we didn't make it too bad. They just had them try to climb up stuff. It was like, because they like to jump. And I'll explain that later with one in particular, but they like to jump. Another thing, and this is probably the main event, so I'm gonna obviously put that smack dab in the middle of the events, because I'm just going in order of how they happened, but this was definitely the main event, was the high wire. So, how this worked is we obviously didn't use a wire. We're not insane. We were kids, but we weren't assholes, alright? So, we just used pillows, because we had a couple couches in my room, so we literally took all the pillows off of both those couches, off of one of them, because we used the other couch to put them on, and we obviously didn't want them to fall on, like, box spring. That would not have been the best. It would not have been the best. So we kept that, but we took the other pillows and we made a 2-pillow high. And like when I'm talking pillow, I'm talking like couch pillow. So if you take off the bottom of your couch pillow, like one of those sections, we stacked like 2 of those, and then we put one on top, and then we had a ramp going down. Because the aim of actually no, we didn't have a ramp going down. No, yeah, we did. Yeah, it was a ramp. And, oh my god, this was so stupid. We put them on the very top of this pillow creation. And from there, we just had them walk. We put some lettuce on the very bottom of the ramp thing, which is a fairly steep ramp too, but that's not important. Because none of them got to the ramp. Spoiler alert. None of our guinea pigs are very athletic. At least were. But eventually, so we put the lettuce there. There's like a sort of incentive. And then from there, we tried to just get them to, go down. Larry went first, because, Larry's awesome. And we also kind of hoping he would do something, because with the climbing up pillows, believe it or not, I didn't explain how they did. Neither of them really did anything with that. So we tried that, it didn't really work out. We were like, alright, let's do the next thing. So then we had them try to do this, which is arguably way harder and way just stupider. But, we put Larry on the top, and we were like, alright, let's see if he'll, like, walk across. Because we used like a thinner pillow. Like, not like a super thin one, but we had one that was, like, their width, and, like, maybe you could put 2. So, like, 2 guinea pigs wide of pillow for that. So we had him walk along that. Larry, like, put his, like, front foot on it, and was like, nah, and he just kind of sat there for like a couple minutes, because we really was hoping that eventually he would kick in, like some instinct would kick in, he'd actually do something. But no, he didn't do anything. So then we moved on to Gabe, the absolute, and I'm saying this with a smile on my face, daredevil of a man. This guy was nuts. Alright, this guy was absolutely insane. We put him on there. His first instinct was to start walking down that thing. But then his instincts must have got the better of him, because he was like, oh, I don't want to do this. So he started just walking back. He literally tried to turn around and walk back to the top of the thing. He was already like a third of the way down. But as he was going to turn, back to the thing, his butt kind of, like edged off of the ramp pillow thing. So what had happened was, he started to just slide down. He just started falling, not like a super, he slid, and it was so comical in the way he did it. And because he like slowly started sliding, and then he was like grabbing on with his front feet, and then he was just like, he looked like he was trying to pull himself up, and then he just like and then he just landed on his feet, like not even 2 feet down. So it wasn't that bad of a fall. Obviously it was bad. We didn't like that he fell, but it was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious to us because we were like 12. But yeah, after that, we stopped the high wire. We closed down that event for any future Guinea Pig Olympics. In fact, I think that just set us off, the Guinea Pig Olympics, because we never really did anything crazy like that with them again, so, which is probably for the best for the animal. But yeah, so that was the high wire. Gabe was fine, but I think after that moment, he got a rush, but I'll explain that later, because there's still one more event, and that was the maze and the labyrinth. Or I guess I put maze and labyrinth. It was essentially both. It was a labyrinth of, and I call this the labyrinth of destruction. Not because we made it that way. It's because they made it that way. We took some pillows and some stuffed animals and stuff, and we made like a maze. It was a very small, very short maze with like 2 dead ends, and it's a kind of a mostly straight path to the exit. And we tried to see if they could, you know, how fast they could get from one side of the maze to the other. And we tried Larry. Larry didn't do very much. He walked in a little bit, I will say. He did walk in a little bit. But then he just kind of started just pushing stuff, you know. He wasn't a big fan of the space confinements, so he just kind of kept nudging stuff around. And we were like, all right, he's not having any of it. What about Gabe? Gabe's a man. Gabe just fought for his life, so he must want to win. And Gabe came back with a vengeance, man. He went in there and he just kept headbutting the freaking pillows off. He was like knocking stuff around the entire, like he just kept like every stuffed animal he'd go across, he'd like push it out of the way, and he'd try to just knock the pillows. Like the dude was like, I don't know if he was angry or he was just like, nah, I'm upset. But it was something. He was absolutely livid with all of the things around him. He wanted nothing but to see them friggin' die. And eventually, he didn't really make it. He made it like probably halfway, so he did beat Larry again. He went 3-0 in the Guinea Pig Olympics, but he knocked so much stuff down that it all just kind of collapsed, and he was just like sitting there, just nudging stuff. I'm like, all right, Gabe, you win. We don't have to do it. And that was the final event of the Guinea Pig Olympics. Probably the best thing to ever happen to me in my childhood, to be completely honest, because it was just such a wacky, fun time. Obviously, we had time between the events where we were just holding them and loving them and stuff, so they were fun. No problems arose from this. This was pretty early on into their life. Granted, not that they didn't have a very long life, but it was still pretty crazy nonetheless. So, Gabe came out 3-0, victorious. Yeah. Not too much happened there in terms of Larry afterwards, but Gabe, I don't know, it was something from that fall where he realized, hey, I can go freaking, I can free fall and live for as long as it's not too far. And he must have taken that and went, alright, this is something I need to do for the rest of my life, because he would jump off of anything after that. There was one time where we were all just sitting in the living room, and Gabe we just had him on the couch, because, you know, he wanted to give him some space to roam, and pretty early into, you know, any of that, he just immediately just went like, hey, what if I do this? And he just jumped off the couch. He leapt off the couch onto the rug and just sat there. He just sat there. He was like, alright. He had his pose ready. His feet were in line. He was waiting for the score. And the score was, what the hell are you doing, you idiot? Because we were just like, what? Why did he do that? And he did this numerous times after that, too. The dude was a madman. The dude had nothing but just fierceness and just he had the jackass spirit. I feel like he could easily be the Johnny Knoxville of guinea pigs. But yeah, I mean, he didn't he didn't obviously get hurt. You know, like, the dude was a freaking he's as tough as leather essentially. Because otherwise, I don't think he'd be able to do any of that. But there's some other things he did that were pretty particular or peculiar and particular, because they were both one-off events, but they were so just insane that you wouldn't think a guinea pig would do these things, but there he was doing it. So one was we were sitting in my room, me and my sister, with our guinea pigs. I had Larry and she had Gabe, because that was kind of the how the ownership worked. You know, Gabe was hers and Larry was mine. I loved Larry. Larry was a man. But Gabe heard a noise from outside coming in. It was my younger brother coming into the room, but he stomps when he walks, so he's stomping his feet, and he was just like, then Gabe, here it is. I don't know the logic behind it, but he freaking ran. The dude like shot bolted up my sister's just like entire body. I don't know if he was trying to like hide in her hair, because he loved especially, but they all did. They loved hair, but he kept running to the point where he like just went off of my sister, off of the couch, and was clinging to the freaking curtain. He was clinging onto the curtain, and as we turned back, we could see him, because we had a good amount of space between the couch and the wall, because my mom didn't want it to like scratch the walls or anything. So we could see him slowly just sliding down the curtain like he's some sort of spy movie. Like he's freaking part of the G-Force, which is such a good movie. Go watch G-Force. You'll get a pretty accurate representation of what my guinea pig did in his life. But the dude just slid down like he was in a Bond movie, and then we're like, oh my god, we gotta make sure he's, you know, okay. So we moved the couch a little bit, and we just see him sitting there, like, all right, pick me up now. Everything's fine. Everything, like, we're like, dude, why do you do this? Why is this his plan? I don't understand his logic behind any of what he does or what he did. He's not here no more. It was a while ago, but it was just like, man, like that's just insane. The dude was a madman. I loved him. But there was also one more thing that really proved he was just insane. And what that thing was we were cleaning out their cage one day. And so I think at this time the people who were around was me, my older brother, and my friend, one of my friends. I think it was one of my friends, because it was either one of my friends or it was just nobody, or it was my cousin, one of my cousins. But I think it was one of my friends. It was just a random regular day, so I don't think he would have been the one to be there. But side tangent, one thing that a lot of my guinea pigs like to do was bite my cousin for no reason in particular. It was just always my cousin. They never bit any of us, but they always like nibbled on my cousin whenever they showed up. It's very funny. Come on, water. There we go. Oh. But yeah, so back to, you know, the story. So at this time, it was, I don't even remember who was around. I think it was I think, yeah, because Larry was gone at that point, I think, because we had Chewy and Felix, who were our next two guinea pigs. And, you know, we love those bastards. But we kept Gabe in a little pen, like a little, what the hell did I do here? But yeah, so we had Gabe in a little, like, not an, I say little, it wasn't little. It was like a plastic bin. Obviously we didn't have the lid on, we're not freaking stupid. But we had him in like a Tupperware thing. Not a Tupperware thing, like a plastic bin you store things in. It's like fairly high up and like fairly wide, so So we wanted to make sure, because I was the one who was cleaning out his cage, and most of the people around were like, I don't know if I want to hold the daredevil right now, but so, and as we're cleaning out his cage, I go, like, it was me and my mom cleaning out the cage, and my mom's like, all right, go see how Gabe's doing. He's just jiving with my friends. With my friend and my older brother, just watching him just run around in there. And I come back, and this dude, I sit down next to the bin. This thing is maybe like at least 1.5 to 2 feet tall, if I had to like underestimate how tall this thing was. And keep in mind, there was nothing in there but him and some food. This absolute madman leapt out of the bin. He literally, like, long jumps, like, 1.5 to 2 feet up onto me, and he, like, sat on my shoulder, and we just, like, did it. Hooray, you're here. Like, what? We were all just in awe. Like, how the hell did he do that? Because it's a pretty big bin, and we just see this tiny little man just leap over it, like, without touching it or without grazing his legs or anything. He like perfectly leaps over it and onto me, and we were in shock. We didn't think guinea pigs could do that. I still don't think guinea pigs are supposed to do that. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what we had with Gabe, but dude, we should have like gotten a movie contract or something for that guy. He would have absolutely gone places. Like a stunt guinea pig? That would have been nuts. But yeah, the dude was, I mean, he lived that life. He didn't need to get paid for it. He just lived that life. That was who he was. God damn, I loved him for it. I loved him for many other reasons, but you know, that was definitely a incentive to love him even more. But I mean, yeah. So he was crazy. Gabe was crazy. You know, Larry was always pretty lazy. But they were both very lovable. I have a lot of pictures of them from my not super old phone, but old enough that the pictures are pretty bad quality. Granted, my phone now still takes pretty bad quality pictures, but something about that and the lighting made the pictures I took of them look like they were out of like a scene from like MASH or like some old show. Because it was just super staticky, but like super like nostalgic looking as well for some reason. But yeah, it was just very, very poor quality pictures of them, but they're adorable. Like, I love them. I still have a lot of those pictures saved on my phone. My sister has a ton of them that I got from her as well. And it's just nice. It's nice, you know? It's nice. It's nice. It's nice. But yeah. So, and then, of course, when Larry died, we got Felix and Chewy. Felix and Chewy, they were a bit more tame, I would say. For the most part. Compared to, you know, Larry and Gabe. Mostly Gabe. Chewy was a bit extra in the fact that he just loved people. The thing with guinea pigs is most of them will like nibble on like your finger if you like put it too close. Chewy didn't do that. He almost knew what a human was in the sense that, oh, this is like a dude that feeds me and loves me. This is amazing. So I'm gonna love him back. He would just lick people. Like, not even a joke. Like, you put your finger on him, like you put him near your cheek or your nose, he start licking you. And it was so cute. He was amazing. It was adorable. It was like the best thing I've ever experienced. Was the first time, like, I freaking go near Chewy and I put my finger there to like pet his nose, and he'd like quickly jolt around and he'd start licking it instead of just trying to nibble with thinking it's like a carrot or something. Like, that was adorable. He's so sweet. Chewy was the sweetest man alive. That's not an overstatement. He truly was the sweetest man alive. And, but, that same cousin I was talking about, you know, because we were always, like, laughing about how all my other guinea pigs would nibble him when they like, one of them, like, from his words, would just straight up like bite him at times. So I really don't know what the hell they hated about this guy, but they did not like him. But we all liked him because we had him over a lot, and we had Chewy at the time. We were like, dude, this guy is the nicest man alive. He only licks people, so just give it a try. He did not lick my cousin. He went for a nice chomp on him, and then and he was like, "What the hell, you lying bastard?" And I'm like, "No, look." And then I put my thing there, and he starts licking it. He's like, "What? What? This isn't fair." It was so funny. It was so funny just watching just pure chaos unfold, because this dude would constantly try to get him to lick him, but I knew he'd just get a nice big chomp out of him. It was hilarious. But another thing was, I think Larry, this is a very Larry thing to do. He would just bite things. He'd bite like the couch. He'd bite, like all of like their little like igloos and stuff. But one thing he also bit was my Xbox controller. So me and my cousin, and we were, I don't even remember where I was going with this story. Yeah, we were playing something on Xbox. I don't remember what it was. Probably Call of Duty, because that was the thing that we always loved. We loved playing Black Ops Zombies. That was our thing. Loved Black Ops Zombies. But so we put the controller down for a second, because we also got the guinea pigs out. So we had them on our laps and stuff, and we were just petting them. We were like, "Oh, hello, Larry." And Larry was being held by my cousin, and Larry just, like, as he puts the controller down, just kind of, like, fast walks towards it, and just takes a mean old chunk out of the freaking the right joystick. I don't know if I still have that remote. I don't remember if that was for the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. I don't remember. I had them both, but I don't remember which one that was. But all I remember was just looking back and seeing a whole chunk just nommed off of this thing. And we were just laughing, because we were like, what? Like, it was just so insane. Like, the dude freaking not even like a minute, not even like 10 seconds of like just having the opportunity, he just went for it. He's like, I wonder what that tastes like. And I hope it tasted good, my friend, because that was something. I liked that controller. It was like, I think it was like a white one that came with the console. It was awesome. But yeah, so crazy dude. Larry was a crazy dude. They were all crazy dudes. Trying to remember stuff about Felix. Felix was very tame. He kind of had like a weird quiff thing going. Like, his hairstyle was so much more fancy than the other ones. Oh my god. Yeah, the dude had like a nice little toupee look going compared to everyone else. He just kind of had like slicked back stuff. The top of his head just looked like the dude knew he was better than everyone else. But one thing that he loved to do, in particular with Chewy, because when Larry died, we got both Felix and Chewy, but from Petco, and they were in the same thing. So I guess they kind of knew each other. They were they respected each other as individuals, But Felix, I don't know if he thought he was top dog or something. Let me just clarify. No one was more top dog than Chewy. Chewy was absolutely top banana in the world of guinea pigging. But Felix loved, and I mean loved, to use Chewy as like a pillow or a seat. Like, he just loved putting his head and his entire, pretty much half his body, over Chewy and just sitting there. He would just, I don't know if you like the like vibrations of him like just existing, but he would just use Chewy as a pillow. And that was always the most adorable thing, because he would do it whenever we had him out, or whenever they were in the cage, anything. The dude was nuts. The dude, I don't know what it was about Chewy. He was a very plump and very just warm man, so maybe that's what he liked about it. But it was just so funny to just every time, like, it never got old. Like, just watching him just freaking sit there and be like, today I feel like sitting on my brother. It was just so funny. I loved that. But yeah, that was just that was one of the silly things he did. He also gets like sitting on boxes, and that's the thing that my cats like to do as well. I don't know what it is about animals in boxes, but they really, really like boxes. So, to sum up a story here, nothing. It wasn't really a crazy story. It's just I have a very specific picture of him on a Monopoly box eating some cucumber, and this is one of my favorite pictures of him, just because he just looks adorable and is adorable. So there's that. Anyone who disagrees, I suggest you leave, because I will not like you. Whoa. Oh, what have I done? Uh-oh. That's a problem. But yeah, so the dudes, they all had something about them. There was always this one little personality trait. Gabe was a serious daredevil. Chewy was a lovable asshole. Frickin' Felix was just a calm, cool, and collected small man, small fancy boy. And Larry was just the oddball of the group. He would just do dumb stuff all the time. The one thing I will say, though, is my older sister is not a very big fan of just guinea pigs or like rodents in general. Just doesn't like them. Just doesn't like rodents. You're just like, it's fair. I mean, not everyone is a rodent person. I didn't think I would be, to be honest, but then I got the guinea pigs and we were like, hey, these are the best things in my life. I would not trade them for anything. But the one that she actually did like was Felix. I don't know if it was because of his cool hair or it was because he was smaller than everyone, like substantially. Like, you looked at frickin' Gabe or like Chewy, and then you looked at Felix. They were completely different animals. They were different species, you'd think. Because they were just so different in size. It was like, insane. But yeah, so she liked him for a bit. Like, she liked him more than the other ones. She still didn't like hold him or care for him at all. But yeah, Felix was somehow the one that she would like at least moderately appreciate. He was also very cute. He was like mostly black. He had like a little brown patch on his side, and then when you'd lift him, he had like a white belly. He was so cute. And then Chewy was just black, white, and he was light brown. He was pretty much every color you can imagine, but he had a white stripe on his face. And what we would love to do was make that stripe just a fucking disaster. Whenever we had him out, we'd like make it swirl, or we'd like push each bit to the side or whatever. We would design him. We would design our guinea pig, and it was fun. We never got like clothes or anything for them because we didn't think that would be very fun for them. I don't think any animal enjoys clothes except maybe some dogs and some cats, but I'm not a big fan of doing that. That's just a me thing though. Like some animals do like it, so I completely get it. But my guinea pigs did not seem like the people who would, enjoy a shirt. So we didn't really do anything like that with them. Yeah, so they were always around. They were cute. And then we had Lola, so how Lola came in, I'm pretty sure I already told this story, but I might as well just explain it a little bit more. So eventually, Gabe passed and Felix passed, and it was just Chewy. Chewy was a dude. He did not care. He loved people more than he loved guinea pigs. So the thing with guinea pigs is they say you want to buy them in pairs because they get super depressed if they're alone, which I would say is still a fact. But for two guinea pigs in particular they loved people exponentially more than they would ever love guinea pigs. And that was Chewy, and then the new girl in town, Lola. When Lola, my mom's friend, had to give him up because I think they were moving or something, and they didn't know if they could bring her or whatever. I don't know the entire story, but all I knew is that we were getting a new guinea pig who was pretty much around the same age as Chewy. So we were like, okay, that's fun. They were also a girl, so we did keep them in separate cages because we didn't know the entire. Because we knew Chewy. Chewy was a feisty boy. Chewy would it wasn't very often, but he would try to just do things with our boys in white and brown and black. He was a little saucy man. He was a saucy man, to say the least. But yeah, we were like, okay, if he does that with them, I don't know if we want that to happen with this lady here. So, we didn't let them go anywhere near each other, at least in terms of cage. Sometimes we'd have them out and they'd be together, but they didn't really like that. They didn't care much for each other. I don't know what it was. They were just, it's not like they would hurt each other or anything. They would just, like, go out of their way to not be around them. And we're like, oh, that's odd. We thought you liked guinea pigs. I thought that was your whole shtick, is you liked being around other guinea pigs. Not these guys. These dudes, once they realized that they can just live alone and not in any close vicinity to people, they were like, yep, I want that. Let's do that. And we were like, alright, well, fair enough, I guess. You can, do whatever you want. I mean, none of us care what you do. Just, whatever. So, we gave them a lot more, love and care, because they couldn't give it to themselves. But yeah, Lola was very spontaneous. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but that's the word I'm going to use, because I don't know how else to really say, to describe what she would do. She was very, I guess, happy is a good word to say, because there's a thing that guinea pigs do when they are in a very joyous mood, joyous time to be alive, called like popcorning or something like that, something similar, where essentially they are just so happy that they can start jumping and shit, from what I can understand from the whole premise of it. That's pretty much how that works. And she would do this so much, like, she'd just start rolling on her side, just going absolutely fucking bananas. She'd just be, like, imagine a cat, like, curling up and stuff, and then imagine a guinea pig doing that, for reasons that no one really understands. Now that's pretty much Lola. She was an absolute freaking nutcase, and we absolutely loved her for it. It was the funniest thing to just watch her just roll around, because she was so happy to be out with us. It was so awesome. She's so cute. She wouldn't lick people like Chewy, so she wasn't like that personable, but she was definitely up there. She liked people to an extent, But yeah, she was very happy to be around. She's just a good little lady. I love that lady. And eventually, Chewy did pass. He passed when I was in my one and only year of college. So, I really freaking blew not being able to see him. But, it's whatever. I'm not trying to make myself sad. I need another stupid rope. Okay. But yeah, so then it was just Lola for a while. And she was great. She didn't care, obviously. She didn't care in the first place for Chewy. They didn't really care for each other at all. So, I wasn't expecting them to just start caring for some reason. But yeah, she was a lovely little lady. And sometimes we'd have her just kind of roam around, and she'd just walk around so far and so much. She clearly loved just being out and about. So we try to keep her out and about as much as possible. And yeah, so, sweet little lady with a sweet little mood. I'm trying to remember any, like, super crazy stories about him, but honestly, after Gabe, everyone was fairly tame. Like, they would do some stuff, but it wasn't anything, like, freaking nuts. It wasn't anything that was like, oh my god, why would you do that? You're insane. Guinea pigs aren't supposed to be animals like that. Gabe was just an exception. Gabe was freaking insane, to say the least. I'm really trying to, like, imagine something that happened, but I can't. I honestly, for the life of me, just can't. Like a raft? That's crazy. But, I mean, I guess that's about it. I honestly can't think of anything else. Like, none of them like fruit. Guinea pigs are notorious for their love of fruit and vegetables. They were all the pickiest sons of bitches in the world. Like, they would only eat, like, frickin' parsley, they'd eat lettuce, and then from there they would eat, like, frickin', I guess, spinach sometimes, but not all the time, and also only certain ones liked spinach. Some of them liked carrots, other ones didn't. Some of them liked X, others didn't like Y. It was just trying to give them all vegetables and shit was the most struggling part of just existing with these bastards, I swear. But you know what? It was fine because we loved them. They were awesome. Awesome dudes to be around. Just great time to have little dudes. If you're ever considering getting a guinea pig, maybe don't have them, walk on pillows at like a foot or two above the air, because that might not be the smartest idea. I think Gabe was the definition of built different, So I wouldn't do that ever again. I would do the maze maybe. Do the maze. Maze could be fun. If you have the smart one, none of my guinea pigs were very smart. Lola was probably the smartest one, but that was just because she knew how to get her way, which was just rolling around like a madman until we started being like, oh, hello, yes, hello. But yeah, I mean, that's about all I can honestly say. They're just absolutely lovely people. I say people. They weren't people. They were guinea pigs. But we treated them like family, so it's essentially people. But they were awesome, and I do recommend them. I do recommend getting them. They're like, I don't know how getting a guinea pig would go at this point. I know Petco sells them for like $40. I don't know how the prices range everywhere else. I don't know if you can even adopt guinea pigs. I guess we adopted Lola, who was a shining example of why you should adopt a guinea pig. I'm a big fan of the whole adopt don't shop thing. So if you can find someone who's just giving away guinea pigs, or like someone who just can't take care of theirs, don't think it's because they're like a couple years old that you're not gonna have the same amount of fun, same amount of just good times, because that's not true. They're gonna love you, and you're gonna love them. So I guess we'll just leave it at that. So thank you all for tuning into this episode of Stranded Deep in Conversation, and I hope to see you all next time. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I will see you next time. I will see you next time. Bye-bye now, y'all. Take care.